Hello, my name's Dr. Zoe Walkington and I've worked in the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences for around 5 years now. But prior to that, I've worked at the OU for many years as an associate lecturer up in the Yorkshire region where I taught Introduction to Psychology courses, which I really loved doing. At the moment, I am a psychologist with a lot of interest in police investigations. So I retrained around my early 30s to do an MSc in applied forensic psychology, and that really changed my career and life entirely. And at that time, I was really interested in police suspect interviews. So how do you get someone that really doesn't want to talk to you a lot of the time to have a conversation with you? And that's something that I remain interested in. And my role now at the Open University is that I work within the Centre for Policing, Research and Learning. And that is a collaboration of 21 different forces and agencies within the police and the OU. And we have two main purposes really. The first is around research. So one of the things that we do is we collaborate with police forces to develop research projects and programmes that are interesting to them, that solve the problems that they want to solve. And whilst most of the academics that work directly within the centre are from either FAS or FBL, we can draw on a whole range of academics across the university to deliver those research projects. So if, for example, we need experts in computer science, we've got colleagues who are able to help us with that research. Obviously, one of the most important things about that research collaboration is that we share the results of any research across all of the forces that are members. But the part of the centre that I'm really involved in is to do with learning, and that's to do with how we kind of can develop through things like CPD resources, so continuing professional development, how we can develop police officers and staff and take them into sort of the future of policing, if you like. So we do a range of things in that sort of department. We have a number of MOOCs or massive open online courses that are relevant to police officers, and that might be things like cybersecurity, or it could be forensic psychology, where we have a lovely witness investigation MOOC that people might be interested in looking at. We also develop other open educational resources, for example, through OpenLearn, and they might be to tackle a particular problem. So, for example, at the moment we're developing things around how you manage rapport and communication in community policing settings. And we're also looking at how you do leadership in those sorts of settings as well. And so part of my role and part of the job that I really like is getting out there and talking to the police, talking to different forces about what they need and what sort of learning will help them to improve. As part of my role, I've been really lucky to be involved with the BBC, acting as an academic advisor on one of their programmes, which was called The Detectives' Murder on the Streets. And that followed the detectives in Manchester as they investigated a series of murders. And that was really interesting and really useful to me as an academic here as well, because I was able to embed a lot of the material from those documentaries into a module that I was working on at the time, which is DD802, which is part of the MSc in Forensic Psychological Studies. So that's a great aspect of the role as well. As a social scientist, one of the things that's really interesting is seeing how policing is changing. So, for example, as you can imagine, there's a much bigger focus now on digital policing, both in terms of how criminals can use digital things to their advantage and as a new way of commissioning crime, but also, and perhaps more importantly, how the police can use digital means to communicate with citizens and with the public that they serve. Another big changing area for us is vulnerability. So as you can imagine, because a lot of services have been cut as a result of austerity, increasingly the police are finding themselves the first port of call when dealing with vulnerability. And yet traditionally that hasn't been something that they've been trained to deal with. So one of the functions of the centre is to be able to bridge those sorts of gaps and try and help develop learning materials that will be useful to the police going forwards.